Well, on the show today, we have a special guest. Devon Hansen is with us. His dad right now is, I guess if you had really good eyesight and a telescope, you probably could see him right now. But his dad is Jeremy Hansen, part of the Artemis II program. And so welcome to the show, Devon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, lots of questions. No, we don't have tons of time, but just wanted to have this conversation. We're just about hearing from people, hearing their story. There's so many stories that go around our world that are negative, and just want to get to know people with just some unique circumstances in their life, and you definitely qualify for that. Your dad, with this mission, he became the first non-American to travel beyond low Earth orbit and the first to journey to the vicinity of the moon. He's also among humans who've traveled the farthest from Earth, having broken the distance record with the rest of the Artemis II crew. That's pretty crazy. How's that feel, just hearing that, and you know that that's your dad?
It's pretty incredible. I mean, I think, as my dad would say, it's not just their achievement, it's the achievement of all of humanity. They're not up there for themselves. They're up there for all of us, for their families, and for all of humanity. So it's an incredible experience to know that it's him, and just to know that he's the one up there and he's the one doing it. But it's everyone behind him that made it happen. So
yeah, it's awesome. Loving watching the launches and just seeing every single role and how important that is. He joined the team, I think Artemis team, and was it April of 23. Do you ever remember your dad not wanting to be an astronaut, or kind of what was his trajectory to get to be on the Artemis II?
I'll keep it like Sparks Notes version, but effectively as a young kid, he built a treehouse in his backyard with his parents, and turned that treehouse into a spaceship and was flying it around in his imagination. And you've probably all seen the photo from him in the spaceship cutout or spaceman cutout that my grandmother took. So he's always wanted to do that since well before I was born. And then I was born in Cold Lake, and just before I turned 5 years old, he got hired as a Canadian astronaut. And before that, he was a fighter pilot. So he's always been interested in aerospace, space, flying, all that stuff. And his degree was in space science at RMC. So he's always been interested in this kind of thing.
That's great. What are your aspirations? I know your mom is a doctor, OBGYN. My father-in-law is an OBGYN, and I don't aspire to be that, nor would anyone want me to be any kind of a doctor. But what are you thinking for your life, and what are you studying right now?
I'm lucky enough to have plenty of opportunities and tons of doors open for me.
Awesome.
And I'm very privileged. I'm very grateful. For me, I think one of the things having a doctor as a mom and an astronaut as a dad is a lot of people think there'd be a lot of pressure. Sure, I do feel a lot of pressure, but it's more pressure I put on myself and has less to do with who my parents are. But the nice thing about them having such successful careers is I know I don't want to be a doctor, and I know I'm probably not going to be an astronaut, and it's not my childhood dream. So it's probably not something I'm going to end up doing.
There you go. Yeah.
So when I look at it, I kind of think of it in terms of like, they've achieved their dreams, and I can use them as a role model and example of who I want to be in terms of character and who they are as people, rather than what they do in their career. So that kind of takes the pressure off me and kind of allows me to go do whatever I want to do. I currently work as a scientist for a research and development company while taking courses. So something in like the science and STEM and engineering fields is probably likely where I'll end up. I'm super interested in all sorts of space things, all sorts of science things. Pretty much anything I can get my hands on. I'm really curious. I just love learning new things. So that's probably where I'll end up, but we'll see.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now. And as we're recording this, sometime tomorrow is, as well permitting, is the re-entry and all that goes with that. I saw an interview with your dad. I forget when it was from, but it was like, what are you most worried about? And he was like, breathing when we land. And I was like, okay, yep, that's good. He's just talking about all the things that have to happen. It goes back to you talking about all the people that are involved. But for you, like, as you know, your dad's up there, like what's your biggest worry, and kind of what helps you personally to just kind of push that anxiety aside?
Yeah. So obviously, when it comes to spaceflight, there are some risks involved. I think people sometimes overstate the risks, and some people understate the risks. So you get both sides of the same coin. I've talked with a lot of people who are involved in making this mission safe, making this mission happen, and getting them back here safely. And I trust all the people that I've talked with and everything that's going on there. So I think for them, they definitely are completely on track and knowing exactly how risky it is and how they're going to keep it safe. I think with the general public, it's important to understand that spaceflight is dangerous, but because it's dangerous, we do to a great extent, make it as safe as possible and do our due
Yeah.
diligence to make it safe. Things happen similarly to driving a car. You have mistakes happen and accidents happen. But we've done a lot of work to make it safe. So I'm not
Yeah.
too overly worried. I
Good.
think when you're sitting there and watching a rocket take off, or when you're watching a screen as they come back through the atmosphere as a ball of fire, you can't say there's no nervousness and no excitement there beforehand. But I think once things start going well, especially with the rocket launch, like watching them go up once it
Hmm.
started moving, I just got more and more confident. And watching them go off into the atmosphere, get rid of their boosters, and then their launch abort system was pretty incredible. And I think I
Yeah.
went from nervous to very, very excited and very, very happy. And I expect it'll be similar for landing.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, I think I saw it was an interview with your mom and just talking about like when that counts to zero, like what that must feel like for your dad, and then what that's feeling like for you guys. And I just, a roller coaster with some G forces is all I'm gonna ever feel in this life with that. But that's, yeah, I can't imagine that feeling, and I'm glad that you can enjoy it once it kind of gets going. And I think that all of the world is thinking with you that as well. Um, Obviously, it hit zero. It's taking off. Then the first major issue is a toilet issue, which I mean, hopefully your dad did not cause that. But what have you heard from there? Like just some of the things they've been doing, any issues they've had, or just some great experiences they've had while they've been up in space so far.
Yeah. So with regards to the toilet, they knew going into it that there were things with the toilet they weren't sure what to work. Part of this mission was testing all the systems, and one of those tests was the
Okay,
toilet. When you're on an unmanned mission, you can't test the toilet. So
that's very true.
they
Yeah.
were able to take that opportunity. They had their backup plans in place, and as much as it sucks to be what they call space camping and not have access to that toilet, um, they were prepared for it and they were aware it was a possibility. So going into it, it's not the worst outcome of all the things that could break. It's one of those
Yeah.
amenities that's not important to their safety. So we're grateful that it was that and not something
Yeah.
else. Um, I suspect that they will have a much better toilet built for Artemis III and the missions in the future. I know there were some concerns with the volume of the toilet, even when it was working.
Mm,
So moving forward with a better toilet in
yeah.
the future seems to be something that NASA is currently working on. Um, and I'm
And
sure,
great that we're talking about a toilet and not something else. So that's
yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I saw the videos. I think I forget who it was at Mission Control talking. They had hidden some things. I think it was some socks and some coffee or something. So just love seeing people being up so far away from us in this thing that there's been really four people that have experienced this, and just to see them having fun and it being lighthearted but also serious at the same time, and that what they're doing now is going to be great for future generations, and it's exciting to see that. And I saw you talk about in an interview. You said that most kids don't get to see their parents achieve their dream because usually you've already been born or you haven't been born yet and they've achieved that. But now you've gotten to see your dad achieve that dream of being an astronaut in space, and this legacy he leaves with you. Like, what's that feel like just from proudness, like of your dad is from his son?
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible feeling. It's really, really hard to describe. Like,
Mm,
what it feels like to have someone in your life from the time when you were born till present day who's constantly there for you, constantly encouraging you, constantly trying to make you a better person, whether it's through gentle correction or through like just encouraging you and being there for you and supporting you and helping you make those hard decisions. And then to watch that person
mm,
like not just tell you how to live your life and show you how to live your life, but also like take that opportunity and use that same advice that they're telling you for their own life and to make that stuff
mm,
happen. And I hope that he's not just an inspiration for me, but also an inspiration for other people because he's truly done an incredible job to push his dreams further. He's trying to inspire humanity. He's trying to bring humanity together and get us to work together towards common goals. We're an incredible species here on the planet,
mm.
and we have
Yeah,
this glorious planet that God's given us, and it's incredible for us to like work together and use it. So just to get to see him achieve his dreams is such a, like you said, such a proud moment. And
yeah.
I just can't describe it in any way other than just like awe
Mm.
and like I'm so inspired.
That's awesome. And just think, I don't know how long is it after he's back that you can see him. Do you know
Um,
how long that'll be?
yeah, so we should see him within a day of
Oh, great.
splashdown, barring like where they
Yeah.
land and some other complications or like some things that they have to do before they see us. But I expect to be seeing him. They'll land tomorrow on Friday, and hopefully I'll see him by Saturday.
And you'd be having a cheeseburger and looking up at the moon and just, yeah, knowing your dad is up there, had been up there just so recently. And one thing he said, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but just especially in this time that we live in, and just the violence we see all around. And he said, purpose of humanity is joy. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but he said, we need to be lifting one another up, creating together instead of destroying. And he said, he saw the proof with his own eyes, and he's like, we can do better. We need to collaborate with each other, and we just need to lift one another up. And just, yeah, that's what we need in this world. And so I guess for you, your faith, what would you encourage someone that's living in this trying times to think that way, of that kind of positivity?
I think it starts on the smallest level. I think
Mm,
as an individual, you get to work with people around you all the time. You get to
yep.
have those connections with people from your own country, with people from other countries. When you're on vacation, you have an opportunity to experience and learn from other cultures. I've been so blessed to be able to travel to different places around the world and around North America. And you get to meet people who are part of different cultures, who
Hmm.
are taking different courses in school, who know different things from you, and just take the time to get to know people and to understand them and to build those connections. And then when you get a chance, use those connections to
Yeah.
make the world a better place, like help people, work with other people to help them achieve their dreams.
Mm,
Like you can spend your whole life working a 9 to 5 job just to make ends
yeah.
meet, or you can spend your whole life working a 9 to 5 job and taking every opportunity to help that company to make the
Yeah.
world a better place. It starts on the small level. You can be an astronaut going around the moon and inspiring the world, or you can
Hmm.
be working at like an accounting firm and helping people make
Yeah.
ends meet and work their own jobs. Every single person on this planet is a cog in a machine that works together for humanity. Like
Right.
God created us not to be individuals, but to be a community of people who help each other and love each other. There's a reason that
Hmm.
we as Christians, obviously you don't have to be Christian to have this belief system, but we're brothers and sisters in Christ. We're put here on this planet.
Yeah.
We're part of the same species. And it's very important that we realize that and we start to work together and collaborate, not just in family units, but people who are not family by blood, but family by like living in the same place,
Yeah.
meeting each other, knowing each other, and even being on the same planet. And I think that's just so important for us to be positive and to work. And you can look at the leaders of the world and be happy or be unhappy.
Hmm.
And it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You can only
Right.
control what you're doing in your life. Um, Go out, do the things that you need to do to make the world a better place. And I think that's the most important thing. I'm not going to sit here and complain about the world. I'm going to go out and
Hmm.
do what I can to make the world a better place. And if every little person does that one little thing to make the world a better place, the world becomes a
Yeah.
much better place. There's 8 billion good things that happen if
Mm.
every single person does one.
Yeah. And it's the little things. It's the taking fresh baked cookies to the neighbor, or help picking up. Like you said, it takes just one person to make a difference, and it's why we wanted to talk to you and just hear like your story, because it's like obviously your dad is known for this, but that reminder that I'd seen in some of your interviews of bringing it back down to that level. We are meant to live in community. We're not meant to live alone. And so if all we're doing is watching the news and complaining about everything, and not that we can't do that, but if that's all we're focused on, then we're not loving our neighbor. We're not being the body of Christ, where it takes all of us to accomplish things, because he's gifted us with so many different unique gifts and abilities. And so I thank you so much for your time tonight. And really quickly, so you can dispel all of the rumors, because of course everyone online, they were like, oh, there was a secret thing going down and the astronauts didn't really take off. So your dad really is in space, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that. He's in space, and he saw the moon, and he will be back. And so there you go. And the Earth is round, right? So
Yeah.
we've got good. We've got those all solved. But thanks again, Devon, for just taking some time to chat tonight. Well, we're praying for you guys tomorrow, and excited to see him come in. And my son's 4, and he keeps looking up and just like, Daddy, there's people up there. I'm like, I know, buddy.
Yeah.
So he'll be excited to watch that tomorrow too. So blessings, man. Thank you. God
Thank
bless.
you. Have a great night.
Bye.